In order to survive and leave the desert alive, a group of survivors used scrap metal to build an airplane by hand. To help it take off, they dragged the aircraft to a flat open area. No one knew whether this handmade plane would really be able to fly. Even worse, they only had 5 ignition rods left. If all of them were used and the engine still failed to start, they would be trapped in this lifeless desert forever. Captain Zhuang Ge, carrying everyone's hope, walked toward the plane. Under the nervous eyes of the others, he entered the cockpit and carefully installed an ignition rod. The engine's front propeller slowly began to turn. After confirming the engine had reached the starting position, Zhuang Ge carried out the first ignition. The first attempt failed. Everyone's hearts sank. He pulled the self-starter. The propeller slowly began to rotate, and the engine suddenly sped up. But after just a few seconds, it stopped again. Zhuang Ge immediately tried another ignition, but just like before, the engine only ran briefly and then shut down. The people standing in front of the plane felt as if the sky had collapsed. They believed there was no longer any hope of leaving. Under enormous pressure, Zhuang Ge realized that there might be debris inside the cylinders, which was preventing proper ignition. The only way to clear it was to burn it out using an ignition rod. But if he did that, they would have only one final ignition rod left to start the engine. Encouraged by Huang Fanan, Zhuang Ge pressed the starter again. The engine vibrated violently. Now all their lives depended on him. With everyone watching, he pulled the last ignition rod. He carefully controlled the throttle, staring at the slowly turning engine. The survivors held their breath, praying it would finally start. The engine gradually stabilized and began running properly. People on the ground began to cheer. Zhuang Ge shouted for everyone to hurry and board the plane. Because the aircraft was handmade, it had no proper seats, only safety harnesses. But at least they finally had a chance to escape the desert. Just as everyone was ready, a terrifying sound came from the distant sand dunes. A group of local desert bandits appeared and charged toward the plane at nearly 60 kilometers per hour. Zhuang Ge immediately told everyone to hold on tight and pushed the throttle down. The plane began to move forward. The bandits opened fire. Bullets struck the aircraft and destroyed the tail control rod, which was crucial for takeoff. Without it, the plane could no longer lift off normally. Wang Fanan climbed out of his seat, risking his life as he crawled to the middle of the aircraft. Miraculously, he managed to reconnect the broken control rod just in time. The plane was already approaching the edge of a cliff. Just when the bandits thought the plane would crash, it suddenly lifted into the air. What happened before this? Earlier, a transport plane arrived at an oil drilling base. A woman named Xiao Mei noticed something was wrong and asked the leadership about it. She learned that the company had decided to shut down the base and evacuate everyone immediately. All the workers packed up and boarded the plane. Just before the doors closed, a strange man appeared, saying he had gotten lost and needed a ride back to the city. The captain allowed him on board. After takeoff, a massive sandstorm appeared ahead. The co-pilot suggested landing and waiting it out, but Captain Zhuang Ge refused, saying it would waste a full day. A passenger rushed into the cockpit and warned that the plane was overloaded and unsafe. But Zhuang Ge ignored him. When the plane entered the heart of the storm, it lost control. With no other choice, Qiang Ge crash-landed the plane in the desert. One passenger died from a head injury. The survivors buried the dead and assessed their situation. The plane was completely destroyed and beyond repair, though they still had some water and food. The nearest base was hundreds of kilometers away, and the plane's communication system was broken. Waiting for rescue meant certain death. One leader secretly tried to steal the water and escape alone, but during a struggle, the water containers were smashed, leaving everyone desperate. At this moment, Huang Fanan said he had a way to get them out. He claimed he was an aircraft designer and could build a new plane from the wreckage. Most people thought he was joking. That night, 2 team members disappeared. Zhuang Ge followed their tracks and found scattered plane parts and one of their bodies. The other missing man later returned and said they had been attacked by desert bandits who killed his companion and stole his watch. Now everyone realized that Huang Fanan's plan was their only hope. They immediately began working. For 3 days and 3 nights, they built a new aircraft from the wreckage. During the process, an explosion destroyed a large amount of fuel, but they refused to give up. Later, storm clouds gathered. Zhuang Ge warned everyone to move away from the plane because of hidden explosives inside it. Huang Fanan reacted slowly, revealing that he lacked basic aircraft knowledge. It was then discovered that he was actually only a toy plane engineer, not a real aircraft designer. Furious, some people even wanted to kill him, but Zhuang Ge stopped them. By this point, the plane was already finished. With no other option, They pushed it toward an open cliff, hoping the wind would help it take off. That desperate attempt led to the dramatic escape. And in the end, they successfully flew off the cliff and escaped the deadly desert.